Welcome! Today we're going to turn this into this. This is my first time taking a lawnmower blade and turning it into anything but a lawnmower blade. So I'm bringing you along for the ride. I hope you enjoy the show, and it's time to get to work. This may be fairly obvious, but first thing I'm going to do here is forge this thing flat. At least to the best of my ability. It's looking pretty good on that side. I don't want to hammer too much because I don't want to wind up thinning this metal any more than I have to. At this point, I have the blade forged flat, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean it up and kind of decide which end I want to use for the blade and which end I want to use for the grip of the knife. Well, we'll see how it goes when I clean it up a little bit, see what it looks like. I want to use as much of the length as I can, but as I decide how to incorporate the maximum length, I also need to think about avoiding these areas here where the blade was already sharpened. So I'm gonna grab a marker and do a little sketching on here. Boy, that's actually looking pretty good. Bring that out a little further. Now I'll be starting with the grip end of things because I want to get a sense, after I get that grip sort of roughed out, I want to get a sense for how this is going to feel in my hand. And maybe get a little bit of a feel of the balance of the blade, and maybe that'll help to guide me in how much I want to really take off of the other end. So, time to get to work. I think that grip is gonna, I think it's gonna work. We're moving in the right direction. Now we're starting to get somewhere. Yeah, that feels pretty good in the hand. That is definitely the direction I'm taking this. I'm going to save on belts, and I'm going to do a little bit of forging. And that may actually help me to maybe reshape things a little. So I'm going to clean it up a little more and then go to work with the forge. So this is what I have so far. And I didn't do quite as much beveling of that edge as I had planned to. See if I can get this into proper focus here. I think it's maybe beveled a little bit better toward the point than it is down in this area. But what I found is that I was not confident with my hammer strokes. I think I'd rather take it slow, use up a couple of belts if I have to, and put the edge in that way. The first thing I'm going to do is establish a plunge line, probably right about there, and then work the blade this way. And then we'll kind of see how that goes, and if it works out well, then I'll stay with that idea. And if not, I may just come back in and sharpen it all the way down to there. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, I've got a rough bevel on there. It's pretty thin, and I think it is time for the heat treat. I did wind up removing my plunge line there. I don't know, just wasn't working for me. I like the idea of having the blade come all the way down right to there, and there really isn't any risk of cutting yourself on this thing. I mean, your hand is always going to be down here. I mean, even for doing fine work, you're going to be choked up, you know, right in there. Most of the time you're going to be gripping this thing down here. So yeah, I will do the heat treat and then probably put the finishing touches on it, sharpen it up, and see if it cuts. Time for the heat treat. Of course, one of the drawbacks of using mystery metal, like this lawnmower blade, is that you really don't know the correct process for hardening this. But with that said, usually you can get some pretty good hardness. I'm going to test it with a file. I don't know how clearly you can see that, but the file really doesn't bite into the blade itself. So next we will do the tempering, which I'm going to do in the oven, and then it'll be time to put that final edge on there. So there it is. I'm going to leave it at 450 and for probably about an hour, and then we will check on it. Okay, so on to the final sharpening. I had an issue where my belt kind of ripped apart and there's just one piece of it left, which I may actually still use at some point. But I am going to try. This is actually a like a wood finishing type of sanding belt, so I don't expect it to hold up real well to the kind of abuse that I'm going to put it through. But we'll see how it goes, and if it doesn't work out, then I will be on my way to pick up a couple more belts. But here goes. I like this edge, but I am going to take this over to the stone, and I'll be honest with you, I've never been that great at using a stone to sharpen a knife, but I'm working on it. And there my hat's in the way, but you can see that I'm, there we go. You can see that I can indeed shave with this knife. I wouldn't quite call it razor sharp, but pretty close. So, let's see if it cuts. It splits, it chops, and it cuts. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with that. There it is, my first ever lawnmower blade knife. There's a couple things I have yet to do. One of them is very obvious. I have to put a handle on there, a grip of some kind. So I have some ideas for that. I thought about just doing a wrap or something simple, but I think I'm going to go ahead and drill it and put some actual scales on there and take the time to kind of finish it off and make it look nice. And the other thing is I need to put this in a vinegar bath for a while because I need to get rid of all of this, all the oxidation here. Some of it just, kind of adds character to the knife. But I just want to make sure that I'm not getting any rust started or anything like that. So there will be another video coming, hopefully very soon, next 2 or 3 days, possibly as soon as tomorrow, where I'll be putting the scales on this thing and maybe putting some oil on it. So that's everything for this video. Really appreciate you watching, and if you give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and subscribe if you would. Absolutely leave a comment. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to see you in the next video. Thanks.